All right, here we go. Hey, it's your girl Nicole, and you're listening to a brand new episode of the Rise Yourself podcast. Happy New Year. I cannot believe it's 2025. Oh my goodness. It's going by so fast. I know that I said I wasn't going to do a podcast until February, but my good friend Casey, who's joining me today, posted something that really inspired me to do this podcast. You can follow Casey on Instagram at Casey's Modern Life. And Casey is the talent manager for Brooks. And today we're going to be talking about what he posted and what he wants to see in 2025. And then just some ideas for those out there who are, trying to create resolutions, goals, manifesting what they want. I don't know why your post struck me out of all the posts that I saw for New Year's, but tell us what you did and what made you do it.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me on. It's always fun catching up with you and chatting with you. And I miss your sunshine and the sunshine of San Diego.
Well, it's snowing today. It's like, I hope I bring the sunshine out here.
Yeah, I'll send some sunshine your way.
Thank you.
Yeah, I posted a video of just last year, January 1st, 2024. I recorded myself and I was just checking in on future Casey and seeing if he was happy, if he was still loving what he was doing, what he was doing, what he was up to, if he had accomplished any of his goals, running wise, visiting family wise, work wise. So I just recorded that January 1st. I forgot about it, honestly. A whole year went by. And then I saw everyone doing their 2024 recaps. And I was like, I don't really want to go through and find all the pictures from the year and pick my favorite moment of each month. And then I realized that I had created that video and I was like, oh, it's December 31st. I got to go back. I got to find that video and I got to respond to it. That's kind of how I made the post.
That's fantastic. And so how many things do you remember how many things you listed? And then how many things actually happened from that list?
Oh, let's see. I asked myself if I was still living in the same place, which I am, and I'm happy about. I asked myself if I got a raise at work, which I did, and I'm also happy about. I asked myself if I made time to see my grandma. I'm in San Diego. My grandma lives in Michigan. And I think everyone with family knows that when you're far apart, it's always hard to find time to get there, but finding time's literally the most important thing. I got to see my grandma a few times this year, so I was really happy about that. And now she's spending the winter in San Diego, actually, with my parents.
Oh, nice.
I get to see her a lot more. And then I asked myself if I was running. One of my goals for 2024 was to race more, or if I had been injured. I'm always in a cycle of injuries. I did not race. I ended up breaking my big toe. It led me on a whole nother fitness journey. I got to do the 75 hard challenge, and I really got to test my body in other ways that I never had before because I've always been a runner. And then I think I asked myself if I was happy, and I am. I love my job. I have great friends. I wish I saw them more, so I do have to work on that in 2025. But yeah, all in all, 2024 definitely, I think like anyone, had its hardships, its ups, its downs. But overall, I'm just really grateful to be in the place that I am and have the friends and family that I do. And so I try to always lead with gratitude in those things. So even when there's bad moments, there's always a pivot that can lead you somewhere else down the road. And yeah, all in all, it was a nice look back and a great year.
Yeah. And what I like about what you said is that, am I happy? You started there, it sounds like to me. And I think that when we're building these resolutions and we're talking about manifesting what we want, you have to start with yourself. That's the core. And what makes you happy. And so I really like that. And also to the gratitude, that's the one thing I did for most of 2024 is I had my gratitude book. So every morning I wake up, I have to write 3 things in this book that I'm grateful for. And it forces me to do it. And I told myself if I can get through 20 days of doing this straight, I should be able to do this for the rest of the year. And I'm still doing it. And so it's cool to go back and like see the changes and what I'm grateful for compared to like the beginning of the year when it was like, oh, I woke up this morning, I ran, I ate. And now it's like, I'm really grateful for this friend that I had who did this for me today. And I'm really grateful for my family. And yeah. And I want you to talk a little bit more about, like you said, you put it together January 1st, 2024. What prompted you to do that instead of just writing it down? Like, what prompted you to be like, Casey, let's record something?
Yeah, I've never been a really big goal setter in the fact of resolutions, right? I think everyone sets goals for themselves. But in resolutions, but I think nowadays with social media, you're just like see it everywhere. So I saw so many people talking about their 2023 resolutions and I think, or their 2024 resolutions towards the end of 2023. And I think 2020 was a hard year for everyone.
Oh,
With
yeah.
COVID and that led into 2021 and even into 2022 for some people. So I just remember like at the end of 2023, people being like, okay, I'm going to get back on the horse in 2024. These last 3 years, they didn't really exist. Like, I'm going to make 2024 the year that I level up. And I was like, okay, I've been in really bad injury cycles since 2020. When you don't get to do what you love, you don't feel like yourself.
Right.
Your body, your mentality, you look in the mirror when you're talking to people, you don't have a race on the calendar. You're not going out and being active in these run groups or just other things that maybe were the norms for you. So I was feeling that where I was down on myself for I'd gained a lot of weight through COVID. I had some injuries. I tore a bunch of the ligaments in my knee. So I was in a
Oh,
brace and I couldn't walk.
cool.
And I just got to this point where I was like, okay, you can't be scared to get out and race or get out and run. You're like, if you get injured, you'll get injured, but you've got to be willing to try. You can't be scared to hurt your body. That's just comes with any sport, anything you do, you could get injured. So it's like 2024, I'm going to make sure that I'm out there racing if I'm not injured. I'm going to make sure I always put off seeing my grandma. And we talk on the phone all the time. And she's like, when are you going to
Yes.
come see me? And I'm always like, work's so busy. I just don't have time. And I'm like, I'm going to make time. We're going to make it happen. And I was also I know COVID still exists, but I was a little scared for a few years to go see her. She's older. She's almost 90. And I was like, that's the last thing I want to bring to her doorstep as well. So it's like, I feel confident that we're not past that hump, but like kind of past that hump. And there's just all these things where it's like I see everybody else saying they're going to get back on the horse. I'm going to get back on the horse. I'm going to do things that make me happy. I'm going to travel outside of the country.
Mhm.
That was one of my big things as well. And I was like, I'm just going to make sure that I'm really enjoying my workspace and my personal space and my internet presence. And I just want to enjoy it all again. And I don't want to be bogged down in any of the negativity or like all the baggage that came from 2021. So that's what prompted it.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say all that because if you ever meet Casey anywhere in the nation, really, he's all over the place. But when you meet him, he said, "I'm a ball of sunshine," but he really is a ball of sunshine. Like when you see Casey, you're happy to see him, and so you never know what someone else is going through and what you know provokes them to do the things that they're doing. So, what was your top two biggest highlights this year? And if you want to share, you don't have to share, but what would be your two lowest? And I'll share too if you want me to.
Okay, yeah, let's go back and forth. Uh, I think top two I always wanted to go to Tokyo. So I booked a trip for myself and I found a week and a half of PTO and I just went. It was my first time traveling solo. I didn't ask any friends if they wanted to
Oh, so
go.
you went, so you did go solo.
I did. I just
Oh
went
my
solo.
gosh.
Like I've never traveled solo. I should do it once in my life. Tokyo seems like the place. It's always been a dream spot. I was really proud of myself for getting the courage to do something on my own that big and to explore and take all of that country in that I could. And um it's hard to be out of your comfort zone. When you're in the States or whatever, your work trip, you might just go to a bar and get your meal and it's whatever. You're on a work trip and then you're
Yeah.
gone. But when
It's
you're in
all the
another
same.
country, you feel like you should be experiencing everything. And I think I keep bringing up social media, but the way that you see people travel on social media sometimes makes you feel that you should travel that way, or you should be in these large groups of 20 of your friends and celebrating your birthday in Belize or whatever it might be. So I was really proud of myself for taking that jump and doing it on my own and doing it the way that I wanted to. And it was probably one of my most enjoyable travel experiences, just
Fantastic.
going at my pace and things like that. And then I had an amazing year of work. I love my job. I get to do some really fun things. And the Olympic trials was one of the best moments ever. I got to see you there, but I love to see people succeed and reach their goals. And that's like the stage that you get to see it at in such a high level. And it was just so fun being there, the energy and the support. So those are probably my two top.
Okay. All right. My two top would be Paris. That would be my number one. And then let's see, my other one would be
You have to say that you went to Paris for the Olympics. You didn't just go to
yes, I
Paris.
went to Paris for the Olympics. And then the experience of Paris. Yes, yes, I went for the Olympics. It was absolutely fantastic. The stadium it's alone was just amazing. I mean, just the level of cheering, no matter if France lost or won, and how they were behind their country no matter what. I love that. And then I would say number two would be oh, I'm an aunt. I'm an aunt for the first time. So I have a new niece and she's absolutely beautiful and adorable. And I got to see her a couple times this year. So that was my number one and number two was Paris and Amaya, my new niece. So
Oh my gosh, congratulations, Auntie.
yeah, she's beautiful. She's perfect. My brother and my sister-in-law did a very good job. So
That's awesome.
yeah. So then what would be like, I don't know, two lows that let's put it this way, two lows that taught you something moving into 2025.
Yeah, definitely probably the biggest low was breaking my big toe. I
I've done
started
that before. It doesn't feel good. It's
it
not fun.
doesn't feel good at all. And there's
Oh,
it was such a it brought me back to 2020 in the way of where I broke my big toe, it was like where it bends. So I wasn't allowed to weight bear. I wasn't allowed to do any cardio. I wasn't allowed to get on the bike. I wasn't really supposed to be walking. So I believe I broke my toe in May and I'd been running pretty consistently from January to May. So I was like, all the work that I'd done, I thought we had gotten over this injury cycle and I broke my toe doing something dumb. It wasn't even running. And I was like, I it's all happening again. So that was a pretty big low, but I was able to turn that around into something else, which I was proud of. Um, and then what other, I guess the other low would be like with how proud I am with the work that I do. I put a lot of myself into my work. So I think I let some of my friendships, everyone's still my friend. I didn't lose any friends, but uh, I just wasn't there as much as I wanted to be for my friends for their pivotal moments. Sometimes just when they wanted to hang out and things like that. I travel a ton. So that's one of my big goals for 2025 is just to be there for my friends more, be a better friend, be more available to them. So yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Just so everyone knows, if you're a runner, you never get injured running. You get injured because you just wake up that morning and something just falls apart. It literally, it's yeah, like I broke my toe and it was not from running. It was just I totally understand that. I would say like my two lows would be well my aunt passed away this year and when I came to Virginia that's who I was living with. So that was really hard and I learned that my time is not always my time and sometimes I have to sacrifice doing things for myself to help others. And I think by doing that, it's kind of like it's two things. It's like I sacrificed a lot to try and be there for her. And but when I did that, I like you kind of like I kind of like put my friends off to the side, and I'm hoping they're still my friends. They are my friends. But I didn't put the energy into my friendships the way I wanted to because, I was trying to do something over here and it just wasn't my life. So I think that was like a big low, and I need to learn how to prioritize things and speak up for myself a little bit better. I do have a problem doing that because I don't like hurting people's feelings. So, and then, I think that's really the only really major low because it's kind of like hand in hand. It's just, I did too much for someone that, I didn't necessarily have to do so much for that person. And then I kind of sacrificed friends and other family members in the process. So I'm learning to prioritize my friendships and my relationships. The conversations that I have are going to be more purposeful and with intent. And when people show me that they don't want to spend their time with me, that's okay. That I will be okay with that, and I can go and find something else to do or someone else to be around. So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, those energy buckets are always such a difficult thing. And I don't think no matter how long you live and how long you have to disperse your energy, they're always hard to figure out. It's a balancing act. And then you have
Yeah,
to protect your own energy.
exactly. Something that I was listening to today that really struck me, and I'm really working on it, is, me and you were talking about putting our energy in the right buckets. And, there are people who you put that energy in that bucket and they don't accept that energy, or there are people who take that energy away from you. And that's where you need to like kind of start putting up boundaries and deciding, okay, I put all my energy here and it's not really going anywhere. So now I'm going to have to take that energy back, and then put it somewhere else where it's going to be more useful, if that makes any sense. And so that's one thing that I'm going to be working on in 2025. So if I put my energy in a bucket and it's not working, I'm going to take that energy back and I'm going to put it in another bucket. And I'm sorry if someone is going to have to feel it, but that's just how it's going to have to be.
Yeah, you only have so much energy and you got to keep moving forward at the end of the day.
Exactly, exactly. So I have some more other questions for you. People are going to be putting together vision boards. They're going to be putting lists of goals together, resolutions. What do you think about all these different things? Because you just basically just put out in the universe and you recorded it. And so I think that's what really struck me more than anything, because it was so vulnerable and raw. And so, like, with a vision board, have you ever done vision boards before? And if you have, like, were they effective for you?
Yeah, I've never done a actual vision board, but
Mm.
I did assistant coach at a college, and I remember the head coach always saying, he's super smart man, but if you write your goals down, they're more likely to come true. And I think there's even stats on that are like, I'm horrible with numbers, I'll butcher this, but if you
Yeah.
write 60% of people that write their goals down are more likely to achieve them than people that don't. So I feel like that's the same nowadays with vision boards, posting on social media. I think if you actively put into the universe and manifest what your goals are, and you check back on them, right? Like you can't
Mhm.
just say, I have a goal of doing this and never check back in on that goal. Then I think if it works for you, it works for you. And I think when you have those mental cues in your mind, everything you start to do leads you towards that path. It's like when you decide that you want to buy a Subaru Outback, and all of a sudden you see everyone in the world with Subaru Outback, and you never saw them before. But it's because that goal's in your mind,
Right.
that thing's in your mind. So you're going to start seeing it everywhere, and it's going to start manifesting itself in different places. And that's when you have to make those decisions of, Am I going to chase that goal? Am I going to go after it? Or am I just going to let it go by? So I think vision boards, writing lists down, whatever you have to do, making social media videos, I think they all really help in helping you achieve whatever sort of happiness you're looking for.
Exactly. And I'm going to go back to the vision board really quick. It's always great to visualize exactly what it is you want, especially before you put it in the universe. Because when you're putting a vision board together and say you want a new house, don't just grab any picture of a house. Like, think about how realistic of a house it's going to be. Is it going to be a mansion? Is it going to be a small house? Is it going to be a townhome? Like, and then that's the picture that you're going to put on your vision board. If you want a new bike, like what kind of bike is it? And be specific on what you want, because when you look back at that vision board, you're going to want what you want. So put exactly what you want, the look, the feel. If it, like what Casey said earlier, like he's doing things that are going to make him happy. So if these pictures resonate with you, then that's what you're going to put on the board. And then also too, again, I'm going to talk about him wanting to be happy. So Jake was talking about being happy and having gratitude. And so when you're working on your resolutions and you're working on your vision boards, like start with you. Like, what is going to make you happy? What are your values? What scares you? Like, I think your biggest thing that scared you was to like travel to Tokyo or travel out of the country by yourself, and you did it. Are you still scared to do that again?
No, I'm excited. I want to do it again.
Right. So like do the things that scare you, put it on your list. And if it's realistic, like go after it. And then, when I say start with yourself, I'm talking about your mental and physical health, your family and your friends, your career. Like those things should be at the core. And then what you're looking for should resonate from those things. And then also too, like personal growth, community, and stress level. We also mentioned that as well. If you're trying to grow into, like Casey's trying to be this world traveler now, he feels comfortable enough now to book that next trip, whether it's by himself or with 20 people. He's ready to do that. And he's going to go back and rebuild his community, because that's a goal, I guess, that you have for 2025. And then being happy is reducing stress levels. That's just common sense. So is there anything in 2025 that you feel like you absolutely have to do compared to 2024? And if there's something, because I think you're going to do a big marathon this year, right?
I am. I'm going back to Tokyo.
Yes.
Doing the Tokyo Marathon in March.
Oh my gosh. Are you
Yeah,
ready?
we're trying to get there. We have about 7, 8 more weeks, and I haven't ran a marathon in almost 7 years. Um, I'm really excited. No matter what happens on the day, I'm just happy that I've like gotten the training in to get there healthy, and I'll finish it one way or another, whether I have to walk, jog, whatever goes down. So I'm just happy to be feeling like myself and moving again in the ways that I want to move.
That's so exciting. And so are you going with a group, or are you going to go by yourself?
Going by myself, it was super random. I sign up for a random major every year just because they're lotteries, so you just hope to get in. And I signed up for Tokyo last year, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's so difficult to get in. You probably won't get in." And I was like, "Then I'm gonna go to Tokyo by myself." In a week after I booked my Tokyo trip, I got into the Tokyo Marathon. I
Oh
was like,
my
"Well, I started
gosh.
booking trips to Tokyo. I'm sorry, wallet, but that's
That's
why now."
fantastic. That's fantastic. I'm so happy for you. So what would you like to share with the audience on, their resolutions 2025? What could you share with them that would encourage them to like really push forward?
Yeah, my biggest resolutions for 2025 are just healthy movement and healthy mental habits. I really want to just start checking myself when I say like bad things in my mind. Like, oh, you're dumb, or oh, you can't do this, or being scared to try something new. Everyone's a beginner at some point in their life, and you just have to learn new skills. So you shouldn't be embarrassed to learn them. Those are my things. And I think I was just in such a place for so long where I didn't have healthy movement. And I think everyone has a little bit of negative self talk in their life. And if you don't, congratulations. I love that for you. But I just always try to look back on the things that I think will help better myself. and things that are consistent through my year. I consistently noticed me saying bad things about myself after I had to give a speech to the company or whatever. I'd be like, oh, you're so dumb. You messed up that word. You missed this slide. And I'm like, no, you're not dumb. You're human. You made a mistake. You still got the point across. Everyone understood everything.
Right.
You're fine. It's not the end of the world. So I'd say take those things that you notice throughout your days, your weeks, that you can make little improvements on. Don't expect big changes right as you start. Like, I'm not expecting that tomorrow everything that I say will be positive talk about myself.
Right.
You're gonna catch it now. That's my goal, is to catch it and to turn that. And same with movement for me. Like I said, I've been in injury cycles. So now if I'm hurting, going out on a walk is good enough for me. I just want to be healthy. I just want to move. I want to keep my body as young as I possibly can for as long as I can. And I think those things, something that you can consistently do, something that you can check in with, is always good, and something that you know that you can achieve. I'm not making the goal to be a billionaire this year. Would be a lovely goal.
Yeah, fantastic.
But achievable goals, reasonable goals that you can make progress towards, and you can see that progress, I would say, are lovely
smart
things.
goals. Smart goals. The negative talk, I know exactly what you're talking about. I think a lot of us, well, it's a fact. 2020 messed up a lot of people. It's not everybody. And so I think the negative talk is very interesting, because what I like that you said is that you're trying to catch it. And so you've already noticed that you're doing it and you're trying to catch it. That's the first step. That means that you're moving in the right direction. And once you catch it, you have to replace it with a sentence that, like, you're like, oh, Casey, I'm so dumb because I did da 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 da. But instead, it's like you said, I'm just human, and the point has gotten across, and everybody's happy. And plus, you're Casey, so like, I'm sure everybody was fine. So, I totally agree with the negative talk, changing it into positive talk. For me, the 2024 was rough at times, but once I started seeing that I was getting through the rough stuff, that's when my negative voice started changing. Like, oh, you just did that. And like, there's no way you would have been able to do that 2 years ago. So, I'm beginning to see it as well. And I'm beginning to change it. And the healthy movement is so important. And I'm a huge advocate for that, because I feel like I'm 205 years old. And the only way that I stay healthy is movement and drinking a ton of water. So if there's anything that anyone can do out there to stay young, is drink a ton of water and keep moving and pee a lot.
Yes, lots of water and electrolytes here.
Exactly. Got wine right here. Well, Casey, thank you so much for joining for this podcast. I really appreciate it. And as always, for everyone out there, Happy New Year, and keep rising. And that's it.
Oh, it's so fun. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. To learn more about the Risers Hub, check us out at therisershub.com or follow us on Instagram or TikTok at The Risers Hub. This podcast is meant for both education and entertainment purposes only. I am not a licensed therapist, so it's crucial to consult your physician, psychotherapist, or qualified health professionals. Until next time, and as always, take care and keep rising. If you're enjoying this podcast, I would like to ask you to please subscribe, like, and share. I mean, that's what they told me to say, so can you hook a girl up? Thanks. Bye.